My name is Charlie. I'm a former filmmaker who worked on a variety of things years back, from quick short films to union gigs in LA to creating my own feature-length documentary for television. Today, I spend a considerable amount of my time showcasing video games for an audience of thousands. I am delighted to bring what knowledge I have along for the ride as we explore Hollywood Animal together, likely the greatest film studio management game I've ever had, or at least so far anyway. It's right up in my wheelhouse. While the opening scene here is telling you this quick story, I want to take an opportunity to just talk about the game a little bit and what you're about to see. This game starts out and takes place at the Great Depression, right as the advent of talkies has enabled the birth of a golden age of sound cinema. This game features a lot of the film industry and society as a whole during this era. It doesn't ignore the darkness and the controversies of society that existed, including discrimination, intolerance, deception, violence, and more. We're not going to pretend that these things didn't exist. We're going to take control of an old studio that still has a single film that's not quite finished yet. So let's go ahead and go through that now. For my studio here, I'm going to call it Pryor Media. And I want the eagle head. There it is. All right, cool. So I would love to name you guys in the comments, in my community, patrons, members, etc. I would love to name you guys and put you in the game like this. However, my executives are probably going to get fired. So I don't want to have to fire you. So these guys are going to stay named Fred Lawson, Ann Rose, and Johnny Payne. Now, in the demo we played earlier, which I'll link in the description if you want to visit that, I picked Messenger of Death. This time, I'm going to choose a different one. Let's say Blind Love. I've got a lot to show in this game this time around, and I really want to just get into it fast for you. The story of this particular film is not relevant to the overall gameplay that we're going to have, and I'll be explaining pretty much everything to you in this video anyways. But if you do want to know what this film is about and to see the plot for it, there's another unlisted video linked below called Blind Love, and you can see it there. I'll read it to you there and we'll go through it. Okay? So, that being said, I'm going to skip ahead into the bread and butter of the game because that's what I really want to get to. Okay, so that's the film we're starting out with. Now, the game does guide us through with some linearity at the start here to introduce the game's mechanics and such. I'm going to try to blitz through these things as fast as I can, or at least as fast as the game will allow. And I'll try to introduce these things to you in my own way as we go, okay? My goal ultimately here is to get into the bread and butter of what makes this game so awesome and to make sure I explain everything I zip through anyways, okay? Cool? All right, let's go ahead and do it. So the first thing we need to do is post-production. Post-production requires an editor and a composer for the music. So we're just going to pick Emma Barry here, and I'm going to pick Louis Murphy on this side. We also need to decide who will develop the film, record the music, and sound effects. Outside contractors are ready to help with this, and they're always available. So we have two different ones here. They have different costs and different qualities. I'm going to choose these guys so that I can give this film the best chance possible. And we'll go ahead and start post-production. The initial stages of setting up our studio here involve a lot of buildings that are not that functional, and we need to get the right people in place and to get these buildings moving in the right direction, as well as greatly expanding on the available utility of our space. So we planned out post-production, but until we assign a department head, we won't be able to get anything moving. So that's the next step, is to go through and get department heads and stuff. To hire new employees, first let's appoint an executive to head the HR department. So you can see that there's the three executives that we'll likely fire in the near future. And here is our human resources executive we can choose. Each person that we can hire has a couple of different properties about them. And depending on their position, we'll have different icons and different things to look at here. So their age is kind of important. They will eventually retire and stuff, right? We have seniority, how long they've been doing this job. And that seniority directly relates to how much they can passively speed up upgrades and stuff, right? So this guy will be 2% faster than the baseline. This person will be 4% faster than the baseline. It is not always the case that the best candidate costs the most. Sometimes really good candidates can cost a lot less. The salaries are actually somehow kind of hard to predict sometimes. I'm going to go ahead and choose Rosa anyway. She has the same 2% as the other guy, but less than half the cost of the most expensive one. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to hire the post-production head so we can get started on the edit. Let's go ahead and do that. And we also have a couple of extra things to look at here. Obviously, we have the contract terms and stuff. You guys saw that last time. This is the amount of money that we're paying per month, and the length of the contract is 4 years in this case. But now we have something called upgrade bonuses. These upgrade bonuses allow us to spend either influence points or money from our bank account to speed up research, to speed up enhancements that are going to go for that department. So in this case, Dale Brooks, who's only charging me $842 every calendar month for 5 years as a contract, he has the ability to speed up upgrades in post-production department by 10% by using money. And that's the one I like. I don't like spending influence points, at least in the beginning. There's not that many of them. But later on, it's great, but early on, not so great. So I'm going to choose Dale here. I think he's a good candidate for me. That's going to unlock the post-production production department and allow me to, manipulate this a bit more and actually have post-production go. Okay, so this is the distribution department. Also very important. Our movies have to get out there as well. So this person's very cheap. I love that, but there's no bonuses here. And I love this person here. So both of these guys really can speed up by 20%. For distribution, that's very good. I would like to get Alejandro Reynolds here because he's cheaper and does the same value for me. So here we go. Outstanding. Okay, next is head of maintenance. Take a look at this. And it looks to me like they're mostly all the same cost. This guy's slightly more, but you are happier and more loyal already. And yeah, your upgrade bonus is the same. So we're probably going to go with this. These bars, by the way, are their current happiness. They'll perform their duties. It doesn't really matter. The maintenance guy doesn't really matter all that much, I don't think, but they'll perform their duties much better if they're happy. And then loyalty can determine things like whether they're willing to do risky things for you, how willing they are to stay, even if another studio offers them big money to leave, stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose you. Okay, so we have those department heads. The next thing the game wants me to do is build a script department so we can start developing our own scripts. And it's going to walk me through the construction process. Here's all the buildings we have. Not many, but you can see all the buildings we're going to have eventually, right? There's a lot of them. And so the script department is the first thing I want to do. Go ahead and begin construction. And this building will consume electricity and water as well. Every building we build, it's going to take utilities as well. So the bigger the place gets, the more expensive it gets. And I can place this anywhere in our parcel of land here, which is a lot of this over here. So I'm going to place my script department, my post-production. I think I'm going to place you right over here. Yeah, right about here is where I think I want you. Right, let's go there. Okay, we have 3 options for the developers for this contract. Each one has its own price, its own timeline, and also the condition the building will be in when they are finished. So if you spend more and take more time with McBrain and Sons, you can have a 100 condition building, okay? Or the building can start at 50%. For buildings that I want quickly to get started and get things rolling, I'm going to choose probably Luxta Constructions just so I can get it down there. For buildings that will be used very often and I don't ever want to, mothball them or I can't shut them down for whatever reason very often, I would want to go a little higher. For this building, I'm going to go just a little bit higher. I'm going to choose these guys, okay? Okay, so that's basically the start of the game, and it wants us to accelerate time a little bit here. There are some scripted events. You guys will get the exact same events I will, and as we proceed further and further in the game, the variation between my playthrough and yours will, it'll widen. So, all right. So up at the top of the screen, you can see also we have like this little news ticker. Everything that's happening, other things that are happening in the world will appear here. So we can see things like Supreme has released Horror of a Generation. Supreme is another studio, and they've released another film called Horror of a Generation. So we'll be able to see all those things too. Later on, as we get more and more complicated, there'll start being like award shows and stuff potentially. Not potentially, that will happen. And then we'll be able to see who's winning awards and stuff, be able to attend the shows and things like that. Johnny Payne, my financial executive. He said he got divorced a couple of years ago and he figured he was out of chances. Until he met Gilda. Now they spend all their time together. They can't get enough of each other. They're like a drug. They're addicted to each other. And he's having a hard time focusing at work because she keeps coming by and visiting him in his office, right? So what he's asking me to do is do him a favor, help him fight the addiction, right? Let's introduce some kind of access control so Gilda can't just walk into my office. Yes, my heart will be broken like any drug addict, but I'd hate to hurt your business and ruin my career. So I have two options. I can either do what he wants. If I do what he wants, his loyalty will go up, but his happiness will go down. If I say, hey, are you crazy? Enjoy it while you can. His happiness will go up, but he will be more distracted at work. He won't be quite as loyal and focused on the tasks that I want him to do. He's just my financial executive. I don't really care. Make him happy. It's fine. He's probably not going to last long time anyway. Because like I said, I'm probably going to end up firing these guys. And the reason why I fire them, at least a couple of them all, because the chief financial executive is incredibly expensive. He starts out with an insane salary. In this case, $20,500 every month. It's insane. So I'm probably going to fire him very soon. We'll see. All right. Blind Love is done. At least for the post-production is done. Total spent was $431,000, but we just spent $36,000 at this stage. Now, the quality of the film is going to go down at this stage. Every single stage of the process of developing a film can impact its ratings, right? Its potential. It goes up and down. From the moment the script is written, it's going to get some ratings. We're going to go to pre-production, it'll get some ratings. It'll get influenced based on the people who are working on it, right? And how that happened. So commercial and artistic ratings went down. This time it went down because I got a bunch of noobs working for me. I don't have very good people working for me. And so while the previous studio had great people and they were producing this film, my new people, not necessarily all that great. So it's kind of degraded it just a little bit. Throughout the whole stage of the process, everyone gets experience, trying to level up their skills and stuff to raise their professionalism. And these little stars and these little numbers here, they matter a great deal to the quality of people that are going to be working on the products that you have. You want to try to pick people that are at least as good as the product they're working on. Usually a little bit better, and then they can improve that product if they're a little bit better than the product. We have movie posters. These are all generated based on the criteria for the movie or what you've chosen for the movie to be. I'm going to choose Blind Love here. I'll leave this one, actually. It doesn't have any bearing on whether the movie will sell or not. It's just for aesthetics. But there are like many thousands of combinations of each of those individual elements that are all like handmade, hand drawn, and put into the game. Thousands of these art elements that will kind of be used in combination with each other to give you very diverse results. And hopefully by doing that, the filmmakers the game developers are hoping that no two movies will have the same poster. So anyway, the release calendar days are all here. This is basically our calendar of what's playing and when. Our movie's going to get slapped on the calendar, and usually we'll be able to determine and choose where that goes. All of this stuff, however, is chosen for us for this film, since it's already been pre-paid for and pre-organized by the previous studio. That includes the cinemas that we're running ourselves, that we own, because we own cinemas. Back then, most production studios also owned their own cinemas. And then we can rent space from other cinemas as well. All right, cool. So that's what this is walking us through right now. Then we need to print copies. There's a couple different print options. You can also get Express, pay a lot more for it, and get a little bit faster. And yep, there we go. It varies by contractor, etc. There's also an advertising timeline and a budget for that too. In the beginning, we're going to start the game with this advertising campaign that basically just says, who are you targeting for your film? We already have 3 movies prepaid. And Blind Love, in this case, is going to be one of them. This movie was created for the whole family. If I push the wrong target audience, I can get this, I swear. I'm talking all day, but I can get it, I swear. Then my movie won't do as well. We want to push the movie to the right audience. In this case, for the whole family. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and hit confirm. And then from this point, kind of left to do things the way we want to do them, finally. Alejandro Reynolds. If you ask me, Blind Love is a surefire hit. A farewell film by a young star. The story has a soul, but it will all go to waste unless it's released at the right moment. The studio's former owners were mindful of these things. They scheduled production carefully and chose a good window for releasing the film, right when the public would be hungry and there was practically no competition. But when the old studio closed its doors, those parasites from Margins Pictures decided Blind Love would never see the light of day. I don't know who was pulling their strings, but they convinced all the theater owners to give them our slots. The film, so basically dirty tricks, right? We've got some dirty tricks going on from another studio, and they're trying to move our film. So what we can do is we can use some influence points, which is now introducing us to influence points. We can use a little bit of our influence to kind of force the hand and say, hey, wait, you know who we are. Come on. You don't want to make enemies out of us right now. Let's work together. Let's keep to the original agreement, right? And so we can see influence points up here. We currently have 50 left. And as we play the game, we'll earn influence points as we go. It's kind of an organic thing that'll kind of be as we go. Okay, so we're building the script department right here. You can see that above it, we have the timeline on the construction. So at any point in time, if you're wondering how long until the construction is completed, you can just look at these little icons and it'll tell you. Same thing over here with the film, working on getting distribution going and printing done. We have 32 days remaining in that. And of course, the color also fills up as it goes too. Gerald. All right, so the construction of the script department is going according to plan so far, but there's a small snag. According to the architect's vision, a large red leaf maple is supposed to be the central decorative ornament. The contractors found a suitable tree in a reserve really far away, and they want to bring it here, but there's been some snags and some guys dragging his feet, yada, yada, yada. So what this is saying, hey, you know what? We could push a little cash his way, maybe speed this up, all right? He's looking for a bribe. So I hope he chokes on his table scraps. Introducing cash. Yeah. When an issue needs to be resolved quickly and discreetly, the funds in the studio's bank account can be useless because there's a paper trail. Ironically, there's no paper trail if we just use paper. So that's how we're going to do it. So we'll have some cash. So this is some stuff that we can use for bribing and moving things along, squeaking some wheels like that. But we can't use the main studio's account for stuff like that. Okay, script department. Construction's complete. Now we can actually start working on it. It's going to be great. I like Russell. Yeah. This guy's got 10% on both types, which could be interesting. A little more flexible. But he's very expensive compared to Russell here, who has a 20% using money. Love it. Russell, come on in. Okay, favorite genres. You could pick 3. I'm going to pick action, adventure, and comedy. You can pick anything you want. Whatever you want to have your initial writers be good at, basically. And here's our initial screenwriters. Bernard Lawson, Felix Hill, and Walter West. To begin work on a script, select the script department building. Then we're going to go to the ideas button right here. And there's some ideas that have just been floated around, okay? So we have an action movie and we have a romance movie that's been floated. This action movie here, I'm going to assign it to Felix so he can get started on that. And while he doesn't have a favorite that's romance, they can still write them. It's just not their favorite. So I'd like to write a comedy if I could. So I'm going to have Walter do this adventure movie. And then that way, if a comedy pops up, I can assign it to the comedy writer. Okay. Continuing to develop your film studio is key to your success. Pick an upgrade for the department. Every single department has its own tech tree. There's a lot of stuff in here. And in the demo, we were very limited. It's going to be nice not to be so limited now. No matter who's working on your script department, no one knows better than you what your film needs to be successful. Yes. The story workshop is going to be our first research. Now, we can use the money to speed things up. Like I said earlier, we have the speed up with money or influence. We could use this to squeak that wheel and spend $200,000 to speed it up by 20%. But the thing is, this is only saving us like 10 days if I do that. It's not worth it. So we're going to use speed ups, but only when it makes a meaningful difference to the timeline. If there's only 50 days in the upgrade, There's no reason to spend all that money. But if there's like 1,000 days to research it, well, now 10% is 100 days. $200,000 for 20%, that's more than half a year saved. That's a meaningful difference. So we'll see opportunities for that in the future. So the script department is going to be working on the story workshop for now. Now we have all these little red blips. That's research for all of these buildings. So let's go to the headquarters really quick. Our financial executive, $500,000 loan is the only thing he can do. And this is actually a really useful, very important thing to eventually get. However, I want the CFO gone. I want to fire him. I can't technically fire him yet because the game won't let me fire people yet, but it's about to let me fire him. And the way this version, updated from the demo, how this works is if you fire this guy, the research he's been doing is wiped. Everything has to start completely from scratch. So the person is researching, not the department, if that makes sense. So since I want to fire him, I'm going to have to wipe this anyway, but I'm going to start it so you can see what it is. You can borrow up to $500,000 for 1 year at a 22% interest rate. Yikes. He has an 8% overall speed up, so we're going to just shave 8% off of the upgrade time. It's 920 days away. In the same building, we can also tab through different departments. So the HR department has its own two things here. We have ethnic composition and services. We're going to go services first, 98 days. PR department, we have one of these too. I can go double reputation for profitable films is pretty good. 970 days. Charity is also 970 days. I'm going to go ahead and choose. I don't know if charity's still broken. Charity was broken, and I don't know if it's still broken. I'm kind of interested to see if it's still broken, but I would love to get the reputation gains. So I'm going to go like this anyway. Because even if it's not, if it is still broken, I'd like to progress in the game without cheating. Hopefully they patch it if it's still broken. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, in the demo, if you gave a bunch of money to charity, you could effectively have so much reputation that all the actors essentially everyone wanted to work for you for free. You didn't have to pay people. It was very, very easy. At that point, you just win the game, right? So hopefully that's not the case now. But double reputation for profitable films seems good. And then our legal department, mid-level legal protection, 285 days on that one. Okay. Our maintenance department, what do we want for this? So we can go with medium landscaping because it's fast, or I can get a start right now on power plant and water tower. These are 2,000 days. It takes a very long time to get these things going. A repair crew would probably also be pretty helpful to have too. If in case our buildings start to deteriorate a little bit, we could work to repair them. All these things are pretty good to have. I think medium landscaping, because it's less days, I could even speed it up a little bit, maybe, but I don't think it's that important. There's really just like, these things take forever to do, and these ones here are more useful in the future, because you might not think landscaping is a big deal, but some of the people want to come to our studio and want to work for me, and they'll be less happy if the grounds aren't well kept, right? That kind of thing. And so if they're not as happy, they're not going to produce as good of their work's is going to suffer for that, right? So there is a benefit to these things. I'm going to spend 50K and you know what? Fine. I'll shave 40 days off of this with 100 grand. We'll grab medium landscaping. Okay. In distribution, this is a big one. Very important one. You're going to be tempted. I know I was. You're going to be tempted to go after theater management right away. You're going to say, oh my gosh, I can buy new theaters. I can have more of my showings for free and not have to rent space. Yes, let's accelerate that. You're going to be very tempted to do this. I want to caution you not to. Always go marketing and outreach first. Always. And you know what? You could even speed it up by 10%. That's fine. Always do this first, because you are going to get to the point where you no longer have prepaid advertising and you have to do your own, and you will not be able to do any advertising at all for any film you make if you don't have this built. So you definitely want that first. That needs to be done before your prepaid credits expire, basically. Okay. Last but not least, post-production. Now we have an option here, and I wasn't paying attention when I was setting up the film. I would like to focus on one until I have high quality, and then focus on another one. And I don't remember which one of these is more expensive on the back end. So I'm going to go Sound Studio. Sound studio takes 300 days base. Film lab is 500 days. Concert hall is 900 days. Okay, so probably the concert hall is the most expensive one. I'm going to go sound studio because it's less days, and I'm going to accelerate it because I'd like to get to a superior sound studio. And so we can make our own sounds instead of having to do third parties. The idea is to do as much in-house as possible and hopefully be able to do everything in-house so we don't need to use third parties for anything because it's very expensive. Okay, next step, building production department. So pre-production is a big one here. Handpick actors, directors, select sets, tech. Basically the bulk of all the planning that goes into every film is going to happen in this area. And all the buildings that are surrounding it are for it too. So I'm going to place this right here, I think. And I'm going to have this be done with the Willis brothers. And then I'm going to build a production department as well. And we can place this, I guess, right about here is fine. And we'll have that be these guys too. Okay, couple of other buildings we want to have. Let's go to advanced. Security. Very important. It's kind of a sleeper. Some people probably will ignore it for a little while. I urge you not to. It's going to save you. Hit this. I'm going to go like this too. I probably should have done the other guys to have it done faster. I think it'll be all right. Then we're going to come over here. We're going to go to engineering. Also a pretty good one. I'm going to place that over here. Engineering, right about... Oh, I want to scoot as close as I can to this. Good enough. We're going to go with the fast guys here. Okay. And then we're going to take the producer's office. And I'm going to put producers... Where am I going to put producers? I stick them way in the corner? I don't know what I want to do with these guys. I think I'm going to stick them way over here in the corner. Just shove them in the corner over here. Although, I might need to use that. I might want to use that space later. Can I have you over here? I don't know if I'm going to end up having the space or not. That's a tough call. I wish I could rotate the building, but I actually don't think it matters. Kind of want to fit it in here now. All right, so let's put it as close to these things as we can on this side. Can I put it right here? We'll try that right there instead. And that's going to let me hire new producers and stuff too. Okay. So Blind Love is done. We can add a tagline. It has no effect at all on the release of the film or how well it does, etc. It's got no effect on it whatsoever. But you can always add it if you want to, you know. So this is a Kino Mark score. It's a rating system that measures audience reviews on the day of the premiere. If you're sure you released a quality film, but people aren't appreciating it, then we probably lured the wrong audience. This is not a grade based on how well you marketed the film. This is an overall grade of how well people enjoyed it, which means you can make a crap film and market it correctly and still score like a C, right? Because it's a crap film. So ideally, A pluses are where you want to aim, but they're very hard to achieve. And then we get some reviews of people and what they thought of it and everything. Of course, everybody will level up as well. All the crew, all the different actors and stuff that were acting in it and stuff, they're all still here. And the total spent on this movie was just under $500,000. So how well will it do? Well, you may have noticed at the bottom of the screen, there's a timeline. And as we start to create our own films, you'll see things progress through these timelines. Okay, so we have the script writing process, the production process. Script writing process happens over here. Pre-production right here, production right here, and post-production right here. And once it goes to the calendar and it's being released, it'll be in this list over here. We can reference the calendar anytime by the bottom right-hand corner. We can kind of scroll through different things and see what the calendar is all about, see the different studios we're competing against and what their current box office is, what they've collected and everything. So Pryor Media has collected a whopping goose egg so far. We're going to improve that. Roy Spencer said he borrowed a little money for some people. They seemed like good guys. They had honest eyes. I'm a great judge of people. But now some annoying jerk is following me around everywhere, demanding I pay off debt. I'd return the whole amount today, but I need a little time to recoup. You know what they say, you might be strong, but the cards are always stronger. Yeah, that's all nonsense, by the way. I'll show the cards who's boss. Can you let me go for a couple months while I sort this mess out? Yeah, you can go. That's going to make him happier, right? He's got something to deal with, and he has an understanding boss that's going to work with him on that, so that makes him happier. Hopefully he'll come back and be more productive once he's here. I know I would be quite distracted at work if I thought there might be some people sneaking up on me, right? Pre-production building is completed. We need a department head for this. And, you know, he's not the cheapest, but he's got that 10%, and I like it. So, Gregory, you're hired. All right, so here's our actors. Jane Fisher, Sarah Frid, Russell Simmons. We also have Gabriel Rutkowski, David Gutman, and yours truly. If you'd like to get me in your game, follow the directions in the description of this video, and you can have them too. It's actually quite easy. You just have to start a new game right after you punch in the code. And then you can have me in your game as well. It will be the same character as it is in everyone else's game, including mine. So it's not randomly selected. They have configured that character. So it is what it is. Thank you, Wappy, for popping me in your game. I appreciate it. Anthony and Lewis Matthews. This is our 2 directors that we have available to us as well. And then pre-production needs research. I think probably sets and props is going to be more important than the scouting office. However, there's a benefit to going to the scouting office in that you can now go on location, which means you don't need to use your sound stages. On location shoots will always take more time and cost more money than sound stages, but they have the benefit of having to not have the facilities constantly on your plot being paid for all the utilities and all the maintenance, etc. So there's a trade-off there. I'm going to go sets and props, but I'm not going to do that until we go casting office. The most important building in this entire thing is your casting office, because this is going to let you actually get new talent. It's also very, very fast. So 70 days later, we're going to have a casting office. So always go casting office first. But when deciding whether you're going to go props or scouting office is really a decision of whether or not you're going to be shooting primarily in sound stages or you're going to want to target on location shoots. I personally recommend you target sound stages with better props first, since it's going to be easier for you to make high quality films that way for a more reasonable budget per movie. And we will zoom ahead here. Hello, Lydia Globe, the legendary Lydia Globe, back in the saddle, nearly. Yeah, honey, I know you expected me to start a new film right away, but getting used to talking is taking longer than I expected. You got to understand, a bird that's used to flying in the clouds just can't dive down to the bottom of the ocean without a little preparation first. I'm doing speech exercises with masters of the stage, stretching out my vocal cords, drinking egg cocktails, getting that velvety voice in the morning. You can already notice a difference. That's right, honey. So please, I'm begging you. I mean, really begging you. Give me 3 more months to get ready for my first talking role. You'll see, your patience will pay off. So she is currently a 0-star actress. Okay, that's it. If you're thinking about saying, hey, your vacation's over, she's a 0-star actress. I'm going to give you 3 months and we'll see how that progresses from there. All right, there we go. What else we got going on? Lots of construction is going to be starting to complete here. Production building is done. That's great. And our production dude, I really want to hire you, but you don't get the bonuses. I like the bonuses. But I don't think the bonus is worth the significantly higher salary. It might be, though. I don't know. It might be. I mean, again, there's the possibility of using influence points with this guy, so I'll go ahead and do it. He's got bonuses in 2 different categories. I'll let him have. I'll do it. And then the producer's office is done as well, and we need somebody for our producer's office. I'm gonna go with this guy. Okay, producer's office. Yep, more research. Every main building has its own tree. Now the producer's offices only have one thing you can do, and that's 2 projects per producer. It's very good. We want to accelerate it because it means that you can have half the production. You can half the producers. Okay, that's great. You also then have access to influential producer, which is many years down the road because it takes a long time to get that. But that's going to make your producers actually have a good impact on every film they work on, making people happier, making people cheaper. It's great. Want to get that too if we can. Okay, and then over here, production department. We have a couple of different things here. Line production office is going to be very helpful, situationally helpful. It's going to do almost nothing for you until you really need it. And I think we're probably going to need it, but I'd like the idea of getting a level 2 soundstage because it means I can get better sets faster. I want to get that first, I think. So I'm going to take, I might regret this, but I'm going to go soundstage first because I want the bigger, better sound stages. I want to be able to make those 2-star sets and stuff a little bit faster. And then line production office will be the very next thing we do. Okay. Jane Fisher, she doesn't like Lydia. She's basically telling me that, you know, hey, that bitch is just doing things and she doesn't, you know, she doesn't deserve to be here. She should just retire. She's greedy. We don't like her. Okay. I'll take that into consideration. Fine. Girls being competitive. Okay. So the first 4 weeks of our first film is done. There's a bunch to take in here. Okay. You have which week it is, and each row is a different week, right? You have how much the movie grossed. You have how much our renting fees cost us. You have how many screenings, and then you have the audience percentage. How much of the seats, how many seats were filled, basically, right? And then how your movie ranked in relation to, you know, other movies that were playing at the same time. So first week, 99% attendance. That's great. Week 2, we had the same cost, but we made less money because less butts in the seats. Same cost, less money, less butts in the seats, etc. Our costs stayed fixed the entire time, but our budget, our earnings did not. So we're making less and less money every week, basically, right? That has to do with the way the marketing budget is set up for this film. For the first film, I can't change it. But every film after this, I will be able to change this and modify its distribution every 4 weeks, basically, in 4-week intervals. So I can, for example, cater how many showings I'm doing based on what I project attendance to be like, so I don't overpay. Right now, though, the only option for this, because it's showing you can, is extending distribution. Since the movie is still making a lot more than our costs, we want to extend the distribution and do the exact same program for another 4 weeks. Again, normally I would not do this. I would definitely modify it and not do the exact same showings because we're only 66% full here. But that's what the game wants me to do for the first film. So we're going to do that for the first film. And we will end up making a lot of money. After the first month, we are paid everything we made in the first month. And that extension then starts again. And so we're paid on that like one time per month on that. Script department's done. Script department's great. We have the story workshop. That's done. Next thing we're going to do is develop new story elements. And I might rush that. I don't know if I want to rush it that much, though. Yeah, let's go the 100 days. So this is going to let us make more complicated stories. And we want to kind of go up this chain to get more elements. But there's still a lot of things that are very important in this. The script department is a really important department. I think probably after we get this done, I'll probably go in and get the freelance writer's office and then hit rolling edits. I want to get this relatively quickly because it can solve a lot of problems during shoots. What rolling edits do is it allows me to edit the script while we're shooting, right? Correct problems in the script while we're shooting. So if something needs to be changed, we can do it. Here's the story workshop, and we're going to place this thing. I think we'll place it right in here like this. And yeah, we'll do this. It's fine. Get this one here. Okay, can I make a soundstage? Yes. I'm going to build one level 1 soundstage, and we can put it anywhere. The soundstage doesn't have to be any specific place, so you know you can place them in like, I don't know, all around in your little gaps and stuff. I'm not entirely sure where all my gaps are going to be. I suspect there will be gaps like right along this road. So I'm going to say I'm going to put soundstage 1 here, and I'm actually going to build a second, and we'll build a second one right along this road like so. And we'll have that built as well. All right, there we go. So 28 days for each of those. Fantastic. Now, when we're going to making movies, we can use the soundstage or we can send them on location. But again, remember, on location, it's going to cost more and it's going to take longer. But it might be worth it, especially if the director or the cinematographer that's working on that film is like really good with on-location shoots. That could play a role. It could be better. Okay, hire a head for engineering. The engineering head is going to be... God, it's really hard to beat 212, though. He's so cheap. Yeah, that extra 10% isn't... it's hard to beat 212. Okay, engineering. A couple of things we want to do here. There's technology invention, which is good, but it's not going to be as useful to you in the beginning. I just don't think it's going to be useful to you. I've played this game quite a bit so far. I've gotten to the point where I've gotten technology invention. It's neat, but it takes so long to get any results out of it that you're going to want research groups first, is what I'm saying. You're going to want to have research groups first. It's 2,000 days to get research groups. It's 1,500 days to get the technology invention. But remember, we're working on percentages here. So 100,000 takes off 200 days. So we're going to try to speed this up by bringing it that way. And then we can also use a little bit of that influence, I guess. But I really want to keep the influence, though. It's an extra 60 days. 3 months earlier. I want to keep that influence, though. It's going to be useful. So we're going to go with that. The other thing engineering can do, it's not just this. The other thing it can do is you can work on your technology that you already know. So if you go to technology management, we have our camera technology that we have, and we have our sound technology. We can work on improving these. There's limitations. The Doppler, for example, really can only get to 2 quality, 2 practicality, 3 economy. Each level that you try to go up here will cost 300 days of research. And initially, you only have 1 team. That team will be working on this for the research period in total. In other words, if I want to improve quality and practicality, I will have to wait 600 days before this is done. They cost 300 each, but I will not be able to use the quality one until the practicality one is also done if I choose to do them at the same time. So what I recommend is to do one at a time. When this is done, then you could do practicality. If you do it that way, then you could be working on practicality, but while you're using the camera, you get to take advantage of the upper quality, if that makes sense. You get to use the one you've already done while you're working on the next one. So I'm going to take and work on that too. This can happen at the same time as the regular research. Okay. What else did I want to show you guys? I think I'm almost there. I'm almost done because we're going to start making our own movies very soon here. We have a week before Christmas and Give Me a Shoulder. That's the titles of the movies they've chosen. Okay, then. Security is done. Our head of security is going to be no zeros across the board, eh? All right, well, the cheapest one wins. You're hired, Alan. And we're going to go into security, and I am going to choose bodyguard first because it's extremely fast. And then I think from there, we'll work on security services. The other thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to hire a security guard. So we have access to hiring certain employees. Each building has this little button here. You don't have to click on the specific button to hire those people. You can also find them in all these tabs. Okay. Also, if you get a really good editor, which I don't have a really good one, but if you get like a really good editor that shows up ever, grab them because that seems pretty rare. So far, I can't seem to find any editors that are better than the ones I start with. So I'm looking for it. Same thing with composers. But screenwriters are okay. We're probably going to get another one of those pretty soon too. And you'll see some of these screenwriters, like this person's a romance, right? This has got a romance affinity, right? So you might want to look at, if we're going to do romance movies, we want to do that. Now he's undisciplined. I don't like undisciplined people. Generally, I don't think it's a big deal for a writer. I haven't really had any problems with writers, but like random events and stuff, undisciplined people on the set are horrible. And I'm probably going to try to avoid them as much as possible. Some of these guys are calm. I like that. Some of them are racists. So, you know, don't ask the guy to write a script about an interracial marriage or anything. You know, again, we're going to take all the darkness, all the stupid shit, all the dogma, everything, the intolerance, the discrimination, all of that is in this game. It's a reflection of our history, you know, and we're not going to pretend it didn't exist in Hollywood Animal. I'm going to take you because you're incredibly cheap. I like that. And you know what? You're pretty cheap shoe. Cheap shoe? Cheap shoe. Welcome aboard. I have 2 security personnel now. Excellent. You're going to want to have at least 1 security person, but it's very good to have multiple, depending on how many movies you're doing. And I'll show you why in a bit. All right, we may need to go to the second video because we're running out of time for this video. So I think you'll probably see in the second or third video. And of course, if you like this series, which I hope you do, please show it some love. Likes down below, comments, all that thing, engagement, helping the algorithm, all that. I would really appreciate it. Okay, so after week 8, you can see our costs never changed because we didn't change the plan. But we only have 23% of the people, 23% attendance, right, at this point. And, you know, it's 149. I could extend this again. But what you'll find is if you extend it again, I don't believe you'll profit. I think you end up with a loss if you do that. However, I'm going to do it anyway, just to see. but I think we end up with a loss for that second or that third period of time. I think there's a loss. Okay, soundstage. Here we go. I'm gonna call it. Let's call it A1. We'll just go A1 there, and then we'll go A2 for this one. So A2. Okay. Roy Spencer's back. He took care of his gambling problems. Good. Okay, so give me a shoulder. Actually turned out to be a pretty damn good script. All right. We're starting off with a bang. I like it. 5.2 on the popcorn to start things off. Very nice. This is a comedy, adventure, action. That's a really good combination. Love it. It's almost like I chose those three things. Modern American City is where it takes place. It's a cop, full-time crime fighter. A cop is not a literal cop. I mean, it usually can be if you're like, taking place in a modern town or whatever. But a cop is just like, it's a label for a type of protagonist. So in this case, it's a full-time crime fighter. Okay? It's not a superhero. But then again, Batman's not a superhero either. There's nothing super about him other than he's rich and he has a lot of tools and he's a really good fighter. So you could say Batman fits cop, but he's gonna be a hero. It's fine. I'm just poking fun at DC now. The leader of a local community who typically wants to expel conquerors and exploiters from their home. That's a tribal chief. Okay, and then the sidekick is a supporting character for this. Seems like a pretty good project so far. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with that. We're going to get started producing our first film that was written by us. Oh, joy. Well done, Felix Hill. So these are the places where the events of the film are going to take place. And the gold locations are the ones where we're going to be spending most of their time. So if we're going to have to budget ourselves or if we're restricted on our budget, we want to focus most of our money and not go cheap on the gold areas. Everything else is a secondary location. We might be able to get away with going a little cheaper on those locations. So we need to decide which scenes should be shot on a soundstage, which ones would be better filmed on location. And then we can select the quality based on what we have for research. If we have a soundstage, we can choose it here. And then there's the title, and we can, change the title if we want to. Right here, we can change it to a different thing. I'm going to leave it as Giving Me a Shoulder. I can also shelve the movie if I want to by clicking this. That does not delete the script. It sends the script to the shelf. You can shelve it, which essentially just means you can save it for later. Okay, you can then delete it off the shelf and then it's gone forever. But this does not mean you're deleting it. So my cinematographer for this, I only have Thomas Morrison. 3.7 is going to bring the quality of the film down, but that's fine. We're starting out with a really high quality film script, so that's good. We're going to put you on A1. Now, our cinematographer has a professionalism of 3.7. You want this to be as close to these as possible. But if he's in a really good mood, he might perform above his professionalism, his score. If he's in a bad mood, he might perform below his score. And how they perform, how people actually perform affects the movie, right? In every single stage. We have the location of, either using our sound stages or we can shoot on location if we want to. Now, if we shoot on location, it shoots off of our set, or off of our studio grounds, okay? Which means it's not using any of our facilities. Which means those facilities are available for another movie, right? This cinematographer has I guess 2 trees. I'm just going to go with like pips or stars or whatever. 2 out of 4 for filming on location and 2 out of 4 for filming on sound stages. So they don't really have a preference for one way or another. So the sound stages can have different quality ratings. In this case, we only have the single starter sound stage. It's going to take 21 days to film here. You can see a breakdown of how the time goes there. And it's going to cost $22,000 to go here. Notice how if I switch this to on location, both of those numbers go up. It just simply it costs more to be on location. It takes longer. It's just the way it goes. And that's realistic too. So for a movie theater, we can go internal. I think I'm just going to go cheap on this one, or a little cheaper here. We have the total filming time is the sum of all the filming days at each location plus all the Saturdays and Sundays in between. They don't shoot on Saturdays and Sundays. They have Saturdays and Sundays off. Once we get a line production, once we have line producers and we have more control over the schedule, we could choose to work 7 days a week. Maybe we want to do 8-hour days, but we want to shoot 7 days. We could do that too. We could also work them to death and have them go 16-hour days for 7 days. And then the film will be shit unless it's, you know, super smooth and it's a really short, you know, shot schedule. Then maybe it will work out. But generally, everyone's going to be super stressed by then. So, yeah. And you're inviting, with that stress is going to invite more problems potentially, too. All right. Next, film technology. Just using our Doppler camera and our Sonotone microphones and stuff. This is a mono sound. We can choose if we want to give this film more extras. It could add to the quality by having that. And it also adds to the cost. So in this case, it's going to also, it looks like, adjust. It doesn't adjust the times. That's fine. We only have low quality costumes and props for now. And then if I want to give them more crew, again, it costs a little bit more to give you more crew if I want to as well. But then things can go smoothly if there's more crew. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The producer is going to be Vincent, I guess. Roy's a gambler. He's also in a better mood, though. He might perform above his rank, but I think we'll be probably be fine. And then the director is going to be Anthony Campbell. Here we go. And then for our cop. So when choosing actors, you have the genres that they've recently performed in. This is not their preference. This is just what they've done recently. Now, that could mean that they're more experienced at these, so they would be doing a better job at these. But you have to be careful on assigning someone to a role, a type of role that they've played a lot recently. It can stagnate that character. The audience is getting bored of that, right? So you have to be careful of that. So in this case, if I want a cop, well, I mean, he's played a sheriff. That's pretty close. A cowboy, I guess, could be. We have Gabriel here, who hasn't played a cop. Yes, he has. He's played a cop before. And also he's played in action movies before as well, and comedies. So he would be a good role, good actor for the role. However, as Gregory will tell us, lately I hear that age is just a number. Even at 80, a person can feel young. But when people go to the movies, their expectations are more conservative. Everyone wants the hero's beloved to be younger. We want the evil sorcerer to be older. I'm just pointing it out. And what he's saying is that Gabriel might be a little old for this role. Now, this isn't the lover. This isn't the beloved. But he is an older guy. He's 67 years old. He may not be the best fit for this cop role for the movie, right? Is all he's saying. So if I wanted a different cop, I would go, let's say this is a sidekick and this is the tribal chief. Maybe I try Gabriel at the tribal chief, unless there's someone else who's already played that role and he has a little more experience at it, which I don't think that's a thing. Nope, nobody has. Well, no. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll put Gabriel at the tribal chief. Hang on. Naturally, I'd never doubt your competence. I just want to give you a little professional advice. Choose actors who are at least at the same level as the script. If the script is good, but the actor is lousy, they'll drag the film down. Okay, the thing is, I'm limited on who I have for actors, but he's a 3.8, and this is the script that's a little bit above him, right, is what it's saying. I'll put Charlie here, and for my sidekick, actually has to be a woman. Interesting. Okay, and my sidekick will just be Jane Fisher, I guess, which she has experience playing a sidekick, so that's good. And she's played in... she's never played this genre, though. It is what it is. Jane Fisher's going to be in there. So she's even worse as far as the stars go. But this is our first film. Our crew is all green, as far as I'm aware. So here we go. Charlie's going to hold down the fort with his 5.9 star rating. Okay? And that's it. We have the breakdown of everything. All it needs is the supervisor's seal and start project. So that will get plastered down into the timeline at the bottom. Okay? And this will progress from left to right until it's completed, going through the different stages of production. And we'll see how that story changes as it moves through those different stages. Here's the script department, story workshop. This is like my favorite part of the whole game. Like one of my favorite features is the ability to create your own stories. So if I want to create my own story and I want to call it The Bag. It's very vague. You have no idea what is the bag. I don't know. It's what it is. It's the bag. So I'm gonna have the bag be an action adventure with a little bit of comedy. Why not? We already have one of those being made, but we can do another one. That's fine. And I'm gonna maybe put a little comedy in there. Yeah, a little action in there. Probably about like this. And let's make it a fantasy kingdom thing. Okay, so we're going into a fantasy kingdom. Remember, not every film needs an antagonist. A romantic comedy, for instance, can do without a clearly defined villain. So if your story needs a clearly defined villain, okay, then you put him as an antagonist. But we're gonna choose a protagonist. Every story needs a main character. Okay. So since we're in a fantasy kingdom, you can probably get away with things like a daring adventurer would work for an adventure movie. We can get away with a knight for sure. That would definitely work. I'm gonna go ahead and pick knight for now. For the antagonist, we can come back to that. I'm not sure yet. Let's see how the story develops. What do we want our theme to be here? You know what? I think I've changed my mind. As we've gone through and I can see the different options and stuff, I think I've changed my mind. The Bag is going to be a treasure hunt movie now. And the treasure hunt is going to end with the protagonist finding the treasure. We're going to have a rival that's competing with us to get that treasure. The knight is no longer a knight, he's an adventurer. And the setting is not a fantasy kingdom, but a tropical island. There. Everything can change sometimes. We'll go a little bit less on the comedy, a little bit more on the adventure, because we're kind of going on that route now. And we need one more. We have a rival that's going after us to try to find the treasure. We don't necessarily need an antagonist. I don't think an antagonist is necessary in this particular case, but perhaps a sidekick that goes with us in search for the treasure. That could be good. So let's pick a sidekick here. And we could say that our sidekick is a woman. That's fine. Rival is another man, and we are good to go with this script. Now we need to choose a writer. And I have an action writer, comedy writer. Our adventure writer is almost done, just 2 days away. If I want my adventure writer to write this, I can go back to change story, and what I can do is I can just hit this button, and it will shelve it. I can change it as a synopsis, okay? So if I send it to archive, I'll just show you. If I send it to archive, it goes into the synopsis tab. And then I can go back to writing, and it's right back where I left off. But since Felix is a better writer, and he likes action, there's some action in here, we can have really good action scenes if Felix writes this. So I'm going to have Felix write this script. It's fine. So The Bag. He's writing The Bag. It's great. Let's see how A Week Before Christmas turned out. It's not the worst movie in the world. We could run with that. I've certainly seen worse scripts. This turned out to be an adventure drama romance taking place on a tropical island with a hopeless romantic. Okay, at least you got that part. There's a bandit and an angry boss. And the protagonist will then overcome his self-doubt with whatever's happening in the plot. Okay, let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can do to make this movie too. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be okay. It seems like you don't have enough people right now to set up pre-production for this project. Keep in mind you can hire additional employees. Open the casting office upgrade in the pre-production department, and there you can hire actors. Yes, I understand. I'm showing an example. Thank you, game. So if I go over here, I don't believe I have it done yet, though. It has to build, doesn't it? Hold on. It didn't build yet. It did not build yet. Correct. So I still have to wait for that because I don't have the casting department yet. So almost done? No. There's nothing building. Hang on a second. Where'd it go? Casting office. Research and build. Oh, no, it's research. It's got to be done. 6 days. Okay, I got very confused. It's just so weird. I was like, wait a minute. I thought I built this. No. Research. Okay. I'm playing this game a lot. Okay. Services. Great. So now we can get to aesthetic staff. They won't throw a tantrum if you cheap out on landscaping. It's going to make them a little happier with cheaper landscaping. I like that. So we'll go ahead and grab that as our next research. Okay. So blind love, right? We did that third trip, and you'll see here that the first week was the only week where we made money. Every week from that point on, we lost money. So we take a net loss on that third run, right? So we're going to end distribution on this. We're going to send this to the archive. And we have bodyguard done. Fantastic. I'm really trying to get to a certain point in this video, and I'm almost there. Okay, so with bodyguard done, we'll go into security services now. It'll be 600 days, but we're going to work on it. All right? And now the casting office is complete. I wanted to get to here. I'm glad we got here. With the casting office done, we can now hire different people. Now I want to go into sets and props, and I want to crank this up. We have 82 influence points. Let's go. Gosh, man, it just doesn't do a whole lot, does it? 20 points per percent. So basically 20 points for 3 days. It's just not worth it. 300 days it is. So we're going to go for that. Here's what I wanted to get to. Fred Lawson says he was poring over a pile of documents that we inherited, and we came across something rather interesting. It turns out that the previous studio promised the late Joe Duvall 25% of the box office for the film Blind Love. It seems this condition was added at the last minute. It was introduced as an amendment to the main contract just a few days before his death. No one even warned us about it. Apparently the Duvall family doesn't even know about it. And what difference should it make to them? Over his 5-year career, the guy starred in 8 hits. His inheritance should be enough for several generations. Not that it ever would anyway, but of course, the only people enjoying Duvall's money are his drunk father and 2 aunts. The box office take has been substantial. The percentage we owe him is $829,517. So, should we contact his relatives and tell them that they can start looking for another beachfront villa? So we have 2 choices. We can say this conversation never happened, sweep it under the rug. Or we can say, hey, a deal's a deal. That's what's in the print. We got to do it. I'm going to go ahead and try to hide it. And when we try to hide it, we get a secret. Ooh, medium risk, stolen pay. We pocketed Joe Duvall's earnings. So we have to go 70 days before this will naturally decrease as a chance to be discovered on its own, okay? Sometimes we have to cross a line. Could be a matter of legality, could be morality. Secrecy and discretion are key. The more terrible the secret, the greater the consequences if the truth should come out. People like to talk, so your secrets could come out at any time. This scale shows the probability that they'll be leaked. You can simply bide your time until the secret is forgotten at the risk, hopefully the risk falls to 0, or you can entrust the matter to the gentleman of your security department, which is what I intend to do. Yeah, that's why I got security guards. So we're going to take this guy. Francis, you're going to be right there. Maybe I'll get the angry guy. He's not very happy. Yeah, maybe we'll get you there. Okay. So we're going to get him on there. And then our secrets are up here if we ever want to look at them. So there could be many secrets at a time, but right now we have one. So 56% chance of basically nothing happening when this triggers for him. There's a 26% chance of failure, which could be backfiring on us. Or there's an 18% chance that he will reduce it in addition to this, right? So, not likely, but it's something, right? We're going to hopefully try to keep that thing still if we can, yeah? Okay, with the casting department done, casting office done, you can put the casting office over here somewhere. Let's put it right here. And whoops. Whoa. Hold up. And I want this built quite quickly. So I think I'm gonna, it's only 9 days, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and build it there. And then the final thing to build now is in advance. It's services building. Here it is. Transform the lives of your employees into Hollywood fairy tales. We could have services also here too. Or I can wait to build this so that I don't have to spend all the money on it right now. Aha. I think I'll do that instead. Yeah. So that is episode 1. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Hopefully you'll join me very soon for episode 2. Bye-bye.